let's talk a little bit quickly about, we'll just survey. How many have read any near-death experiences? Okay. What is it estimated? 8 million Americans have had near-death experiences. There's lots of research in this field where people have been interviewed who have had a near-death experience. How many know what a near-death experience is? You almost die, and you're resuscitated or brought back. And here's the steps. First of all, you hear the doctor say, no, we've lost her vital signs, namely heart, pump, and breath. And so you lose vital signs. Then you feel yourself moving. Now, in each book, the steps are different, but the major idea is like this. Moving through a long, dark tunnel or space. People have drawn this picture because I had a lot of patients with near-death experiences. There I was, laying on the operating room table. Here's all the doctors and nurses yelling, code, code! Oh my gosh, get those clampers, on your body. You see this in emergency, And they try and the people draw this little picture up here, a dotted stick figure. There I was, out of my body, looking down on the operating room table or by the side of the freeway or something. And I saw my body here. And for the first time, I realized, my body isn't me. It's just a container for me. You ever thought about that? My container. Maybe that's what the little baby is doing, right? And when the little baby spends 46 minutes of its first hour of life staring at the mommy, at her face and her eyes, what do you imagine the little baby is saying? So this is what you look like on the outside. And that's why little kids will stare and stare and stare, right? So this body is a learning device. It's a container, and it teaches you so much. How many of you are still learning things from your body? Take the problem of overweight. Take the problem of physical addiction, food, sex, drugs. That's something where you have to learn from your body. And how does a child learn from her body? It happens in stages of years. And that's what we're going to study. The years of the child tell the stages. And they tell certain things that are supposed to happen to the seed during the first year of life. During the second and third, and we have stages, infancy, child, toddler, preschool. Okay, so here's the moving out of the body, through the long dark tunnel, out of the body. What happens during the long dark tunnel? You lose time and space. You don't lose it because you come from a dimension of no time and no space. Proven by our dreams. How many have ever had a dream where you lost time and space? Falling, and never hitting the bottom, that's no space. Loss of time, I was old and I was young. I was up here and I was down here. Those dreams, or in hypnosis as well, you can see that the real self has no time and space. And the other people said, we also lost a sense of hot and cold. Have you ever thought, why doesn't that little kid get his coat on? He doesn't know it's cold. Have you ever heard the saying? A coat is something a child wears when his mommy is cold. So they lose lots of things as they go through this tunnel. The body's down here. Then they come to a light, a blinding light, and they talk about a being of light. Is it God? Is it your big self? But this being of light causes flashbacks, and your whole life goes before you in 30 Earth seconds. Has anyone ever been to this point? Had your life flash before you? Yes. This is the flashbacks. And you go through your whole life fast. Why? Because you've lost time and space. And your whole life goes before you. And then the being of light, there's a little pop quiz. Because you're just coming from the Earth school, aren't you? This is a school. Kubler-Ross, the lady that did all that research on death and dying, says, your life is a school. If you have lived it well, your death will be very pleasant for you. If you haven't, your death will be misery. You know that most people in near-death experiences never talk about the physical pain. And yet that's what most of us think. If you have a patient finish 10 sentences, I'm afraid of dying, because a lot of them will say the pain. And a lot of them will say, I don't want to leave my kids with that jerk. What kind of a woman will he marry? She'll slap them. Right? So there's all sorts of things. But here's a pop quiz. And what does the being of light want to know as your spirit self comes into the next dimension? Not, did you cheat on your income tax? Do you sleep in the right bed? Are you overweight? They don't ask any of those things. They want to know two things. How much loving have you done? And how much learning? Loving and learning. And it goes with the two huge traits of our seed. Lovable and capable. Yin and yang. Female specialties, male specialties. Tenderness and power. How many of you know about these polarities? These are the things. A healthy person has a blend of tenderness and power. A healthy father, a healthy mother has a blend of tenderness and power. They're soft and kind and loving and understanding, but they'll kick your butt if you don't do it right. How do they do it? How is a person tender but soft? And how about the great sayings? Teddy Roosevelt, speak softly and carry a big stick. Emerson, successful parenthood requires an intimate blend of tenderness and power. David O. McKay, there's nothing quite so powerful as real gentleness, and nothing quite so gentle as genuine power. So you have these two things. And so when you die, those two big traits, now the being of light, these people don't say, they go over the 9 steps of Bradshaw, the seeds. They don't say that, but they do ask you, how much loving have you done? How much learning? Do you want to go back and try it again? And of course, all the people in the research did, or they wouldn't be there. No. A lot of us will come back. Some will go on because you can keep learning while you go on, but not as well. Why? Because you don't have the body, the major learning device. A question.
I'm one of those people that have been there and come back.
Whoa, we're so glad you made it.
You were talking about pain.
Uh-huh.
The pain was in coming back.
Coming back.
Actually,
Oh, I read that.
Actually, this has happened to me quite a few, 3 times at least.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually given a choice whether to come back or not.
Yeah. So if I got it right?
I knew after that first time, when I was coming back the second time, I knew that it was going to be painful.
Right. That's what I read in this book.
But the reason I came back was the loving part.
Because you wanted to do more loving.
She wanted to be with me.
Bingo! And does she love you?
Oh, yes.
And does she love you better since her near-death experience? See? So you're not going to die dumb, honey. So it's a giant school. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross was right. It's a giant school where we're down here, and remember my motto, DDD, don't die dumb. That's why I'm glad you're in this class. I hope you bring your friends and the room's full next time. So people can learn, this is the purpose of my life. Hey, I came down here for graduate school. And so here's a lady that we have right in our class testifying. These are the steps, right? They're very general. She answered the question, no, I want to go back because I need to learn more. How many of us would say, I want to go back, I need to learn more loving? How many would say, no, I'm ready, I'm perfect, I'll go? He would. We hope you're here next week. So these are very wonderful steps. And there's another one after the quiz. Yeah, you never would dream that there's a pop quiz when you die. And they'll want to know, how'd you do in the Earth School of Hard Knocks? And so lots of people, and that's why little kids are so curious. They're still learning. And a healthy adult would say, how do you get your glasses to stay on top of there? And once when I was a school psychologist, a little kid came to me and was crying. And the teacher had sent him to the school psychologist because he said to his teacher, Miss Jones, your hair does not match your skin. Because she had dyed her hair from gray to brown or black during the summer. And so he stared at her and, "You don't hang together," he said. "You have the hair of one person and the skin of another. You're not, what's that word you taught me? Congruent." "How could I believe anything you say when you don't hang together on the outside?" And she got so mad. "You go in the corner and sit where the dumb kids sit." That's shame, isn't it? Humiliation, that will hurt his seed. This kid was amazing. He went to the corner and he said, "I might be sitting down on the outside, but on the inside, I'm standing up straight and tall." She couldn't put him down. He believed she was sick. "Oh, well." So she said, "Well, then you go see Mr. Ellsworth," because I wasn't a doctor yet. That's why I was a school psychologist. And so he came in to see me. And he says, "Well, her hair doesn't match her skin, does it?" "No." "Well, why don't you shut up about it?" "It hurts your feelings. She thinks that being old will decrease her worth." "I'm going to go back and tell her I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't mean to hurt her feelings. Do people really lose their worth because their hair is gray and their eyes fall out?" And how many read The Velveteen Rabbit? Remember when the skin horse said to the Velveteen Rabbit, "What is being real?" And the rabbit says, "You're not real until you're old and your hair falls out and your skin is shabby and your button eyes fall down." But he said, "No, it doesn't matter because it's your insides that count. Being real." So this kid went and apologized to the teacher. "I'm sorry, so I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. You're still a good person even though your hair..." So remember the quiz and the externals and the internals, and they're supposed to flow together in a really very healthy person. If she was very, very healthy, she wouldn't have done that. She'd have said, but very, very healthy people are rare. There may be 1 out of 10. And in some parts of our country, 1 out of 20. They're not the way they should be, you see. But they don't mean to be. "Oh, I didn't know that was mean." Get it? Quiz. So there's a quiz. And then after they come back from the near-death experience, the research shows that they are different. They're a lot less external. They know that they're going to die again. They know the being of light will be there with the quiz. They want to answer the questions right. "Hey, I know what love is, and I've been a blend of tenderness and power. Hey, I'm trying to learn where love comes from and get hooked up to my source. Yeah, I don't want to die dumb. So I'll be ready next time. Say, yeah, let me go." My stepmother was 91, and she used to say, "Sterling, I just can't die." And you remember the story of the 5-year-old kid in primary class? The teacher was saying, "Well, what do you have to do to go back to Heavenly Father?" And the kids were naming this, and this. The teacher's going, "No, no, no." And the 5-year-old kid says, "You got to get dead first." He was right. And so Mom used to say, "I can't get dead." "Well, Mom, there must be something you have to learn." "What do you think it is?" "I don't know. Why can't I want, give me patience and give it to me now."
Yeah.
What did Mom have to learn? Hey, not my will, but thine be done. I'll be patient. You're in charge of my stay in the earth school. Not me. I just work here. And when she finally got patience, she could go. Well, it's not always that clear, but there's something that keeps us here. What am I supposed to learn? What do you want me to know? What do you want me to do? Get it? So these steps are great. Now, do I have them right?
Sure.
Something like that. No. So this is very important to read these resuscitated things. And let's talk for just a minute on resuscitated suicide attempts. Yeah. What is a resuscitated suicide attempt? These are people who have tried to kill themselves, but they didn't make it.
What does resuscitated mean?
People have tried to kill themselves, and they were resuscitated and brought back to life. So, how many know how to do cardiopulmonary resuscitation? We should have some people in here in case I drop dead. Okay. I was in a class where they're teaching this to teenagers, and all the boys wanted to resuscitate the prettiest girl in class. And I said, yeah, you know what she'll do? She'll puke first. They thought it was like kissing or something. Anybody in here ever resuscitated someone? That's what happens. Very often. You better watch it. But anyway, things are not the way they seem. Right? No pain, no gain. So, what do we see from people who wanted to kill themselves? Very often they say such things like this to the researcher. It was made known to me while I was on the other side that there were two things I contracted to never do while I was here in the Earth School. One is to take my own life and get myself out of the Earth School early. Another one was to take somebody else's life and get them out of the Earth School early. They were very happy. And then they would say things like, it was all black and gray. I didn't have those steps that she had. It was all black and gray. I was stuck. I couldn't get anywhere. The people who killed themselves to be with their spouse who just died or their lover, like in the operas, you know. Written by very sick people. Not the music, just the words. And I never even went where she went. And it was made known to me, I'll never go where she went if I take my own life. So thank you very much for bringing me back. So don't suicide. You just jump from the pot into the frying pan. It's supposed to be a great escape. Like people who suicide often love escapes. Food, sex, drugs, traveling, movies, sleeping, those are all escapes. Porn is an escape. Video, they're all escapes. And when it gets too bad, they'll want to suicide, thinking they're going to escape. But they don't. Go straight to hell. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200, right? Doesn't work. Okay, so those are the resuscitation studies, and what can we learn from them? Why do we have to wait till we're nearly dead to enjoy our real self and to give her jobs to do and to nourish her identity? Why? Let's do it tonight. I'm going to start remembering who I am inside and give myself some love supplies and get them from God and get them from healthy people, not sick people, and nourish my seed. So let's take a little break, and then we'll go on.